Welcome, everybody, to Miratech M Talks, where startup innovation meets enterprise transformation. Today, we would like to welcome Feyzi Fatehi, the CEO of Corent Technology, a disruptive SaaS enablement operations platform that automates some of the most complex, time and labor consuming cloud migration, modernization, and management tasks. Feyzi is a technology visionary, inventor, innovator, and entrepreneur. He was named among the top 10 most inspiring business leaders to watch in 2020 and the recipient of the 2019 Coady Lifetime Achievement Award, an award previously bestowed upon Stephen Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Bill Gates, Paul Allen, amongst others. As a Silicon Valley veteran and inventor of the first real-time database, Feyzi currently serves as the CEO of Corent Technology, a company that was named among the most disruptive private companies for its invention of their software-defined SaaS platform. Feyzi studied at Cambridge, Princeton, UT Austin, and UCLA, and has given talks at Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, Caltech, as well as industry events around the globe. He serves as an advisor to the UCLA Anderson School of Management, UCI Samueli School of Engineering, and the Bial Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. I'd like to welcome Feyzi.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here. As you can imagine from the bio, I'm very busy, but it's always great to be with colleagues and share some innovative ideas.
Yeah, I was very, very excited to learn about your technology. I just want to let everybody know that attending at any point in time, please feel free in the chat to put any questions that you may have in. We certainly will be getting to those questions throughout the presentation. So, Feyzi, tell us what inspired you to create Corent.
Yeah, so when I was in Silicon Valley working for HP, I was college recruited from UT Austin by HP Cupertino, the site that is now the iconic site of Apple, the new headquarters. So I had a pleasure of running into a lot of people that later on became really famous, and Steve Jobs was one of them. I was very close to Stanford, so that was a place meeting a lot of these great people. And he challenged me to put my focus beyond the invention of the real-time database, that I was one of the 5 people engaged in it. Today it's called SAP HANA. And so to do something that is impossible, attempt to do something that's impossible, near impossible. And after several years, I distilled that notion of doing something near impossible by climbing Mount Whitney multiple times, becoming a scuba diver, winning a tennis tournament. And then I said, okay, as it comes to the software industry, let's create the next big operating system, the same way that Linux and Windows were instrumental in making the software industry move forward. I remember the time we didn't have a real operating system. People were writing their own interface between the program and the machine, but the operating system made that interface really easy. I remember the times that there were no real databases except for mainframes, and then companies like Oracle created the database so people didn't have to write their own data structures. And the idea was, now that software as a service is becoming a thing that people need to become more efficient, run their businesses more efficient, instead of worrying about updating, upgrading, installing everything, just log in and use the software as a service. Said it's about time to create an operating system for SaaS. So the invention idea was building the SaaS operating system. So companies like Salesforce.com would spend 5 years and tens of millions of dollars building their own as a service capabilities for one product. Not every single software company in the world have to do that. Build it once and let everybody use it. So that's part of the overall inspiration. And sometimes don't mind being challenged and people telling you, Feyzi, what have you been smoking? This is not going to happen. And that gives us more energy to go and prove that we could do it. Today, we have over 120 patent claims granted for this software-defined SaaS, which is a more technical word for creating a SaaS operating system that plugs into any software, and within an hour or 2 hours, that software would become like Salesforce.com, and at some aspects even better as a SaaS, and somebody can go to market with it with subscription, recurring revenue, and everything else.
Fantastic. So this plug and play SaaS model, you describe that software kind of as X-ray for the product as X-ray for software. Can you explain a little bit on how that actually works?
Yeah, that's the billion-dollar question. Yes, absolutely. So in order to, so the diagram that you have here, it shows the entire cloud journey. And the last column is SaaSify, what we just talked about, the SaaS operating system. But the journey starts from a software being on premises, and you want to move it to the cloud, also known as lift and shift, migrate it. And then you want to optimize it for performance, for topology, and everything as if it would have been defined and designed on the cloud. And then you want to add PaaS services, platform as a service, like database as a service, app server as a service, etc., that exist on major clouds, and eventually SaaS enable it, or right away SaaS enable it. Now, the idea of X-ray machine is the foundation. Let's say you have a broken leg, you go to the doctor. The first thing the doctor want to do is take an X-ray, figure out exactly how you broke your leg so they can fix it the right way. So the X-ray machine is something we have invented, which scans and analyzes what exists on-prem. And based on that deep and accurate insight that we gain from our X-ray machine, it's called the analyzer. So it scans, analyzes, and allows you to plan for how to migrate to the cloud based on your objective. Is your objective to reduce cost? Is it to improve security, enhance performance? So there is no one size fits all just to go to the cloud and all your problems are behind you. It has to be intentional based on a plan. And you got to model your on-prem for a good ideal model of how you want it to play on the cloud. All that happens using our, as you're calling it, the X-ray machine. And that is the foundation of everything else that happens afterward.
Fantastic. Another kind of analogy that you've used is the idea that your product is like Excel in the hands of an accountant, but really for IT teams. So explain who in the organization uses the product, and what it allows them to do, depending on who they are.
Right. Yeah, depending on where you are on this journey, if we can go back to the slide for one more minute, Michael. Depending on where you are on the journey, the customer is either the CIO or the CTO. For example, when you want to move from on-prem to like migrate, cloudify, PaaSify the system, generally the CIO or the CIO's office is the customer, because it's an operation. Instead of in the DevOps, it's the ops part. If you want to SaaSify the solution, generally the CTO is the target audience, because you are transforming the application from software to software as a service, and you augment it with significant amount of capabilities that we'll cover in a few minutes. So if you go back to the robot slide, I'll address your question about the solution, this Surpass platform that we have invented, is like the Excel in the hands of an accountant. It's like a robot in the hands of a CIO or the CTO, depending on where on the journey we are. And by the way, it's the elements of this journey could be a la carte. You can jump to the end, you can come to the middle, you can SaaSify an application and then containerize it, or you can containerize it and then SaaSify it, as we say. This is just an example. This is like 5% of the capabilities of the whole platform, which automatically containerize an application. We did an experiment. We generally about 10 hours is not unusual to take an application and containerize it from virtual machines and servers to containers using some regular tools. But we did an experiment. We gave an engineer with 2 years of industry experience 5 applications, 5 enterprise-grade applications, and using this tool in less than 5 hours, this young engineer containerized them, moved them to OpenShift in this particular case. It could have been Microsoft AKS or AWS EKS, moved it to Kubernetes and tested and validated the application's work. That is as close to a miracle as you can come in the cloud modernization industry.
Fantastic. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat so we can make sure we address them when we're on a specific subject, or you can ask them at the end as well. So when you talk about supporting an enterprise's digital transformation, can you identify the specific ways your solution helps in that transformation process?
Right. So when we talk about a digital transformation, besides giving someone an app to maybe if we wait for a second for this slide, we'll get to it, Michael. So some people, digital transformation is giving a coupon to someone on the app when they enter a store, which is fine. However, when it comes to major enterprises, when we talk about digital transformation, we talk about, first of all, migration to the cloud from on-prem data centers. And when we say to the cloud, we're not implying a physical movement of where your servers are. It could be a private cloud, public cloud, or hybrid cloud. But moving to the cloud, migrating to the cloud technology that provides more flexibility and elasticity. So number 1, migration. Number 2, optimization. Number 3, modernization. And number 4, SaaSification. Those are migration, optimization, modernization, such as containerization, and SaaSification are the steps. And usually, even for one application, it may take a few years to take, let's say, Boeing's parts management system to take it through this process. However, the Excel in the hand of an accountant, in this case, the robot in the hands of a software architect, can accelerate this process to shrink it by huge amount. 10x is usually the case. So if we go to the next slide, we now talk about, because we talked about migration, optimization, modernization a little bit. Let's talk about SaaSification. That's the concept which is at the leading edge of the software industry. In fact, some people believe this technology, the SaaS operating system, could disrupt the software industry by transforming it to a service industry without a single line of programming. It's a no-code transformation of a software application to a SaaS solution. Let's take a regular CRM and transform it to something that behaves and acts like Salesforce.com. That's what we are talking about. Salesforce took, again, 5 years and tens of millions to do. They were the pioneers, and they showed the way. They legitimized the SaaS industry. The California Business Journal a couple of years ago said Salesforce.com legitimized SaaS, and current technology is now democratizing SaaS by making it available to everyone. So when you look at the pie chart here, sorry, the fonts are too small, but you're looking at the green piece, which is the software application, and people put their effort, okay, let's build a software application. But 90% of the effort, if you want to have that software delivered as a scalable, efficient SaaS, is the blue part, the as-a-service capabilities, all the plumbing that is necessary to deliver that software efficiently in a scalable way as a service. And it falls into designing your multi-tenancy, the operations, administration management, and commercial management, like metering, monitoring, monetizing. Those capabilities are a lot more sophisticated and bigger than your application itself. So the green part transfer to the green part on the chart, and the blue part is that big piece, which is between the application and the cloud, the stuff underneath. So instead of every single software provider building that humongous body of code, we've built it in a configurable, customizable way that would plug into any software. So the blue part of the chart plugs into the software, and the software will become software as a service. Otherwise, software-defined SaaS or SaaS operating system. So you just heard the most bleeding edge of the software industry.
Fantastic. We're going to talk about, the product we know is sold today to large global enterprises, but there's a question here from Alan asking, are there any federal agencies using this capability right now that have contracted either directly with you or through some other consultant?
Right. Yeah, the answer is absolutely yes. And so being a small software innovator company, we don't have Salesforce, we don't have all these sophistication of GSA, etc., for the federal government. However, it doesn't mean our partners out there who are government contractors, let's say General Dynamics. General Dynamics IT is the arm of the professional services arm of General Dynamics. And they spend a year looking at the tools market for cloud migration. Out of 40 plus, they chose about 10. They took it to their lab, played with them, and at the end of the day, they chose Surpass, the big picture that we showed at the beginning. So General Dynamics have standardized on Surpass, and they have used it for several government entities, including Department of Commerce, the U.S. Patent Office, et cetera. And if you do a search on the deals they just won with the DoD, your head would spin. So we are very honored and pleased that they have chosen us. Hewlett Packard Enterprise, HP, my former employer, hired me from college, brought me to Silicon Valley. They just private labeled this technology for the migration to the cloud and modernization. We call it MaaS, Migration as a Service, or Modernization as a Service, and they're going out to market. So, they have federal government, also financial industry. They generally have the same considerations like major, massive banks. We are working on probably one of the largest banks in the world to migrate it to one of the most known clouds, working with our partners. So, and by the way, we are a gold cloud competency partner with both Microsoft Azure and AWS. I may not be naming the certificates correctly, but this is the high end of certification and a stamp of approval we get from both Microsoft and AWS, the top two cloud vendors.
Okay, fantastic. So, we're going to talk a little bit in a second about some of the large global enterprises like Boeing and Samsung. This private label aspect to consultants or integrators or MSPs, things like that. A lot of our partners in Miratech, handle and support, just like you're saying, this role. So, how does someone private label your solution?
Well, you click on private label and type in your name and you put your logo. That's how you do it in 3 minutes. Of course, we have to allow you to do that. It has to be part of the contract and agreement that you private label it. Companies like General Dynamics like our brand, like Microsoft like our brand because they believe we bring credibility in this particular area that complements their credibility in the area of cloud. And some other people, they don't want to overcomplicate the life of their customer by asking who is Corent, what is Surpass. They private label it. So we are very customer partner focused. Yeah, this slide here is, by the way, major systems integrators in the world are now lining up. And we are very honored that they are our partners. HCL just signed up, Price Waterhouse signed up, Tech Mahindra, and I mentioned HPE Point Next, General Dynamics IT, and lots of other. If you go to our website on our partner list, you will realize that you may be the last one getting in line, but it's not too late. The revolution has started quietly. And so this is like a sample list of applications that have been SaaSified, SaaS enabled. And if you go to, for example, Azure Marketplace, you see several open source solutions SaaS enabled, and they're available for people like OC Ticket. They do trouble ticketing or support ticketing, one of the most known application out there. Some of them were open source. Anyone can take it, use Corent to SaaS enable it, and go to market with it. So that is SaaS enabling open source software is also another quiet revolution that has started thanks to the Corent's invention of the SaaS operating system. The name of the initiative is Open SaaS. On our website, you can read about it.
Okay. Just to speed up here a little bit, give us a little sense of the Boeing usage case here so people understand on an enterprise solution how it's being leveraged inside an organization.
Yes. So the SaaS enablement technology, the same exact technology could be used to take a product. Let's say I mentioned OS Ticket or Sugar CRM or any software application and SaaS enable it within hours. And then boom, you're in the market as a SaaS provider. You can manage it. It's optimized, et cetera, et cetera. Or you can apply it to an in-house software application, such as Boeing has done, and it's similar for Samsung and so on. They take an internal application that hundreds of divisions, entities, supplier, dealers have to download and periodically update and maintain, and they SaaS enable that software. And all of a sudden, these hundreds of entities, they simply subscribe to a SaaS solution that is centrally managed by the office of the CIO, and they're in business. They're using that software the way they want. It's like a tenant of Salesforce.com. You're a tenant of the parts management solution for Boeing, and you're just using it exactly the same way you're using before, except for the overhead that you had. And the benefit is that the office of the CIO now has a lot of insight, how this application is being used, which feature functions are used more, which one are ignored, et cetera, et cetera. So there's significant amounts of information that the office of the CIO has, like best practices, what is normal, what is abnormal behavior, et cetera, that can be used to further the outcome of the business and the operations.
So that reporting is built into the SaaSification process, that you get access to feature set usage, or is that something that has to be built on top of your product?
No, it's built in. who can use the application. Like, for example, it's a hospital application. Which features only the physician can use, which feature the nurses can use, which feature the insurance company can have access to. These are all part of the platform. Yeah.
As well as the reporting mechanism in terms
as far as the reporting mechanism, etc.
How big is the
metering, monitoring, even it adds metering that most SaaS applications don't have, because a lot of SaaS applications are per user per month, very boring billing and monetizing. This way, the metering would be added. You say, I want to meter this particular usage or the amount of time, the amount of repetition. And in addition to per user per month, you can bill per usage. That gives flexibility to customer as well as to the SaaS provider without a single line of code.
Okay, so we have about a few minutes left. I just want to get into a couple of questions. We have a question from Marcus as well, which is right in line with our next focus in terms of the cost of the solution, licensing model. How does it work? What does it really cost?
I love this audience. They're asking great questions. So because our platform itself is a SaaS solution, the modeling is you subscribe. General Dynamics is a subscriber to our SaaS platform. Hewlett Packard is a subscriber to, so it's like somebody subscribes to Salesforce.com, you start using it and you pay your bills, whether it's by per usage or on a fixed basis. You have those options. You subscribe to Surpass, which is our platform. And then you, based on the agreement, you have access to, let's say, scanning and analysis, migration, modernization, optimization, and or SaaS enablement. And you start using it day one. And the provisioning takes 5 minutes. So this is really simplifying the very sophisticated enterprise IT market and take it to the next level.
In terms of the actual cost associated with that, how is it priced and what does it generally cost an organization?
Yeah, definitely under $1 million for the first day. So the cost is very simple. It's per VM generally. Let's say you scan 10 VMs, there is a per VM cost for scanning. And then after you scanned and analyzed and generated the report, now you want to migrate it. There is a cost for migrating per VM. And then when you modernize an application, let's say from VMs to containers, moving them to, let's say, OpenShift, AKS, EKS, it's per application and the size of the application. I believe there's a price for applications with under 10 VMs, and there's a price for applications for over 10. So it's either per application or per VM, very straightforward pricing. And at this stage, very low pricing that shocks people how low the price is, because we want to get traction beyond what we have today.
Do you want to give away what that price is?
To be honest with you, I don't even remember because it's over my pay grade. More important people are dealing with sales and business development. It's cheaper than what you think it is. But beyond that, for this audience, I heard great things about you guys from Michael. I don't know who you are, whomever is listening. But if any of these offers here are of attractive to you, please let me know. If you want to SaaS enable an application and use it for a month free of any charge, let us know. If you want to publish a software application on a crowd marketplace, we didn't talk about it, but it takes sometimes months of API level programming to take an application to Azure, AWS, Red Hat Marketplace. We can do it in a couple of hours. We would be happy to do that for you. You can try it out and give your application visibility where the traffic is. And then we didn't talk about our product Compass. It's just a feature of Surpass. It takes 5 minutes to set up, and it may save you about over 30% of your monthly cost. And we're happy to show you, save you 30% the first month. If you're $30,000 a month, $10,000 as a gift from Courant. And if you like to use it, continue using it. The cost is really trivial. So if any of these are of interest, take a screenshot, of
We'll
this.
send slides to everybody.
You can save that. Yeah. Drop a note to info@quarantech.com and mention MTalks. This is the only offer we have made to this extent, and we would be happy to accommodate you guys.
That's very nice of you. Okay, so just in wrapping it up, are there any additional questions from the participants? And, I'd like also to leave you with one other thought process to give everybody. We talked about the price, but, that's relative to what the return on investment is. So maybe where are the ROIs? Obviously, cost is accelerating the digital transformation process. Are there risk reductions? What is the long-term ROI you get? Just for a minute, if you could take us further into really how companies are achieving a high return on this investment.
Yeah. So speaking of X-ray, let's say we are an X-ray vendor. We put an X-ray machine in a physician's doctor, and we charge the doctor $10 per X-ray. And the doctor can charge $200 per X-ray and a visit. So the same way here, the amount of money we charge, let's, for sake of argument, say $20 per VM for a scanning and analysis, the cost of an X-ray. If you have a customer with 1,000 VMs and you charge them $1 million to go and get this sophisticated analysis, modeling, and everything, so you may be paying Quarant 5% or less of the money you're charging the customer. For systems integrators, this is hugely, it's practically profitable. It's all margin. And for people who use Compass, Compass stands for Continuous Optimization and Management of any cloud environment. It's just you're saving your customers 30% or more every month. And if we charge you, 5% of that amount or 10% of that amount, you have a 90% margin without really working for it. It's just using this technology and plug it in 5 minutes to your customer's cloud environment. So the ROI is just outstanding.
Feyzi, I thank you so much for your time today. It's an incredible solution. I think it offers a tremendous amount to the general marketplace, the Miratech Partner Network, as well as our own solutions. And we look forward to building a relationship. And any questions, you can still feel free to drop us a line, guys, and we'll help you out. And we'll send the deck out shortly. So I want to thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.